Hey guys, and welcome to Quality Shot. Some breaking news here as Pakistan announced their final squad in very Pakistan fashion, making three changes to the squad, where apparently Ramiz Raja said there would be no changes. So, yeah, that clearly wasn't the truth. Ashad, how you doing? I'm joined by, of course, Ashad from Cricket Frost 2.0. How you doing, Ashad?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. And yes, breaking news. Very excited about it. But, obviously I have a bit of reservations about certain players. But all in all, I'm really excited by this change that Ramiz Raja clearly said was not going to happen.
Exactly, yeah, clearly. But, well, first of all, let's talk about who's missed out then. So, obviously, Azam Khan and Mohammad Hasnain have dropped out, and Khushdil Shah has gone into the travelling reserves, so he's not in the main squad either. What do you think? I mean, do you think unfairly, unjustly, or warranted?
I think all three technically are warranted. Hasnain's performance in the national T20 has not been impressive. And if you're looking at it just like, recency bias considered, I think Mohammad Hasnain, Azam Khan, and Khushdil Shah being removed makes complete sense. If you look at the bigger picture, Hasnain was doing all right up until this T20 tournament. So up till this point, he'd improved leaps and bounds. If you look at Azam Khan, he hasn't. So it makes sense why he's dropped. And thankfully, the better keeper and better middle order stabilizer is in the side now, Sarfaraz Ahmed. And if we talk about, you said Khushdil Shah is now in the traveling reserves. I think this is something we spoke about before as well, that Fakhar Zaman warrants being in the main 15, and Khushdil Shah could be a replacement, but Fakhar Zaman over Khushdil Shah any day of the week, honestly. And I'm just glad that Pakistan sees sense once again, with something you don't really say about Pakistan very often. But yeah, I think it kind of makes sense. I'm quite okay with it now, but we can talk about Shoaib Malik, live long day, like whenever we want. But, I think if Pakistan doesn't have Shoaib Malik, Sarfaraz Ahmed is probably the second best option Pakistan could have had in that middle order, batting with Mohammad Hafiz.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I don't mind Azam Khan, although I do think like it's just really harsh to pick someone then drop him. Like it's really village. Like I'm sorry, but it really is. I know India did it as well, but it's if I'm a player on that squad and I get dropped, I'm like, what is the point? Because you've worked however many years to get into that T20 squad. It's been 5 years since the last T20 World Cup, and you have a couple of bad months. I mean, that's not. If that was the case, Warner would be dropped for Australia. Right? So that's kind of what we're looking at. And obviously, they're not going to drop him. So I think it's too, yeah, there's recency bias is can be misleading. And Mohammad Hasnain, I personally think, look, he hasn't had a good tournament in the national T20s. So, as in, do you know what I mean? As in, it happens.
No,
Right?
I get where you're coming from.
No. As in, I know you're not saying it, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying that obviously he had a good PSL. And also, actually, I think it's grassroots cricket, actually. So, I was looking through one of their stats that they had for the Pakistan Seamers. Mohammad Hasnain actually has the best all-round stats, I think, in terms of economy.
If you compare it to Shaheen Afridi, I think we've seen
Correct.
the same thing, and I
agree. And so I was actually quite surprised because I thought, oh, maybe I've got a bit of bias because I just like the way that he bowls. But no, we're talking about international T20s here, so we're not talking about the domestic stuff. But yeah, I think for me, I'm not particularly happy with it, but what can you do? I think that's just the way it is. And yeah, I mean, Khushdil Shah being dropped, I don't mind too much, and Azam Khan, a bit harsh, but again, hasn't really done much. Probably shouldn't have been in the squad in the first place. I think is probably the way to put it. Fakhar Zaman, Sarfaraz obviously have come in, as has Haider Ali. So Sarfaraz, I think we know you want him to be in there, so fine. Fakhar Zaman as well. I'm on board with you. I would personally have him at 3. In the top 3. He's a must. Like for me, he's in the starting 11. I couldn't believe he was in the traveling reserves. To be honest with you, but Haider Ali, what do you think? Obviously, that is a recency bias pick.
Yeah, 100%. This is the exact opposite of the exclusion of Mohammad Hasnain. It's like, oh, Hasnain's not doing well right now. Let's just drop him. And Haider Ali, oh, yes, he's right now. I think he's the highest or second highest scorer in the national T20 so far, or in the top 3 at least. And he's doing a great job. No arguments there.
Yeah.
But the thing with Haider Ali is he's been out of the team since the PSL. He's not a consistent player, but he's showing consistency right now. All right. So my personal take is if Pakistan were going to pick him, I don't see him starting off for Pakistan. However much, like, I can't find a way to fit him into the Pakistan lineup, especially if Pakistan go in with, obviously, they're going to go with Rizwan, Babar, and Fakhar, right? In their top three, right? They've got Hafiz, they've got Sarfaraz. Where does Haider fit in? Because Haider bats at number 3 in domestic cricket, or he goes and opens. And that's when he scores most of his runs. His strike rate, if you look at it, his strike rate when he bats at 5 or 6, yes, it's more, but his average considerably less, and he gets out a lot more. His game is not, oh, you come out and bash from ball 1. He needs to develop his game. He needs to build an innings. Not like Babar Azam, but a bit more like Fakhar Zaman. And I think Pakistan doesn't really understand how to fit him in. It's like, oh, you picked, India's a perfect example. They picked like 5 openers for 2 spaces. And Pakistan initially had 3 finishers, or so-called finishers, for 1 spot. And they dropped 2 of them, right? We still have Sohail Maqsood, and we, for some reason, still have Asif Ali, right? But they brought in Haider Ali thinking, oh, he can finish. He's not a finisher. That's not the role he plays. That's not the role you should use him in.
He's opening, isn't he, in the national T20?
Yeah. And look at how well he's doing, right? You got Rizwan batting well. You got, considering that, if Rizwan hasn't done well, should Rizwan be dropped? No. All right. I feel really bad for Hasnain, but I think the way they changed it, it was expected. And right now I'm going to talk about Shoaib Malik, because the dude tried to give a what do you call it? An intro into, I can still play. I can, like a promo. He hit that 85 of 47, then he scored 40 of 20 odd. He scored like 28. Then he didn't have the best of innings. But he was like, oh, will I get selected? Will I get selected? Personally, as you know, I thought he should have been in the side from the beginning. Maybe him instead of Haider Ali, and this is a bold statement right here, but I think Haider Ali is great, but Haider Ali can't bat as well as he does at top of the order. Haider Ali is up there, is great. But as soon as he starts moving down, he loses his edge. The thing that makes him good is the fact that, number 1, he plays in the power play. And when he comes out of the power play, he has sufficient balls that he's faced, so he can go more aggressive. That's the big thing. And if we're playing him down the order, it's just going to mess things up. You have Sohail Maqsood, Fakhar Zaman, and Haider Ali for 1 spot, which is the number 3 spot, potentially. Right?
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you, actually. I don't think it is controversial at all. I agree with you. I think as a finisher, Shoaib Malik is better than Haider Ali, no doubt. And I think the problem that we have is that, as you said, it seems like we're trying to fit a number of openers into a side. And we've got Babar Azam, we've got Fakhar Zaman, Haider Ali, we've got Mohammad Rizwan. That's already 4. So it's just like, and they're going to play all of them in the starting 11 probably. So
yeah.
It's pretty difficult to understand how they're going to form the team. And I think the problem was that they've dropped someone like Azam Khan, who I guess is a finisher, hasn't been in good form. But then does that mean they're going to solely rely on Asif Ali, it seems, because they've dropped Azam Khan, that Khushdil Shah's in the reserves. So that, to me, signals that Asif Ali is going to be a sure thing at 6 probably.
Yeah.
Which... Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Or they trust like Imad Wasim and Shadab Khan, right? So
and Mohammad Nawaz, considering his form right now.
I mean, Imad Wasim can do it. He does it in the ODI format, so he can do it. It's just, are they going to trust him with it? And if they really do want him to do it, they have to then say to him, "You're going to be our finisher," and he can do it. But I don't know. We'll see. But an interesting one nonetheless. Was there anything else I wanted to touch upon? Yeah, I mean, Fahim Ashraf's not anywhere near the squad, and that's... I love Fahim Ashraf, but I just think maybe the format and form... I think next year he should probably 98% get into that squad for the Australia World Cup. But again, he's finding a bit of form, but he's so talented. He is the all-rounder we've looked for quite a bit of time. But this World Cup, it's not really warranted. I think we need more spin, of course. Is there anything you want to touch on before we wrap up?
Yeah, I was going to talk about, I can't even remember that guy's name, Mudassir Gujjar, as a 7'6" spinner. No, I'm kidding. No, I think, honestly, this is an improvement. This is definitely, in my opinion, that's an improvement, because my big issue was Pakistan did not have a middle order. After Hafiz, Pakistan didn't have a middle order, and then they had their all-rounders. Bringing in someone like Sarfaraz Ahmed just makes it a lot more solid. That's only one player, but from an aesthetic aspect or from a Pakistani supporter, it's like it gives you a bit more hope, saying, oh, we have Sarfaraz at number 5 to potentially, stabilize the ship if required. Otherwise, you'd have Asif Ali, Khushdil Shah, or Azam Khan 5, 6, 7, or 5, 6 at least, and they're just going to come out and try and go from ball one. And more likely than not, they go Shahid Afridi's way rather than someone else who strikes the ball a lot more often, right? So definitely, I think this is a good step. And even though, yes, Ramiz Raja said they weren't going to make changes, it makes sense. I'm quite happy with Sarfaraz in the side, Fakhar in the side. And now, based on Haider's form, it's hard to argue, if you know what I mean. Like, it's hard to argue Haider's inclusion. I just don't know where he fits. He might fit in against one of the, the associate nations, or Sri Lanka or Bangladesh, and Ireland, depending on if they get through. But all in all, I think it's a good step from a Pakistani standpoint. And I'm excited. Now the top 5 looks like I can understand what the top 5 in the T20 World Cup for Pakistan would be. It's that number 6 spot, as you said. Imad Wasim can definitely do it. Mohammad Nawaz can do it a bit. That we've seen him in the National T20 Cup. But all in all, very, very excited to see how this team dynamic kind of gels, considering the World Cup is not too far away.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's going to be. To be honest, I'm pretty confused by the Pakistan squad. I'm not really in a position where I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm just like, I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see how we go. But what was I going to say? Actually, the last thing I wanted to just say was I really hope they don't have Sarfaraz keeping if he's going to be in the 11. Rizwan is clearly the superior keeper, so just like give him the gloves. It doesn't matter if he's open the bat. I don't really care. Like, as in, like, I hate to say it, but this isn't a test match. This is a T20, so he should be able to do it, and he would do it if Sarfaraz wasn't there. So he should be keeping. So hopefully they make him keep.
I would love Rizwan keeping if Sarfaraz was a better fielder. That's the only issue. He's not the best of fielders if you compare.
Yeah.
That's the reason why Pakistan...
Then that's a liability, though, then. Yeah. That's kind of, to me, then that puts me off having him in the 11, because he's not a bad keeper, Sarfaraz, but Rizwan is so much better.
Like,
he's so much better.
Best keeper Pakistan can find.
And I just think we're already a weak fielding side, so either one of them on the field is not a plus. Like, Rizwan's not a bad fielder, but he's not on a great field either. So he's a good fielder. He's not fantastic, is he?
Compared to the other Pakistani fielders, he's amazing.
Not compared to Khushdil Khan or Fakhar Zaman.
He's Khushdil Khan levels. I'm not even kidding. He's Khushdil Khan levels.
Yeah. Okay, maybe. Okay.
We'll see.
We'll see. I guess
one catch from last year. All right, that's all I remember.
Okay, that's why, because of one catch where he closed his eyes and hope for the best. But no, no, I appreciate it. Okay, thank you very much for being on. Guys, if you haven't already, please do check out our channel, Cricket for Us 2.0. Of course, and do check out our channel as well. Well, you should be already watching it. So do like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment on it as well. Let me know what you thought of the Pakistan squad changes. And if you don't mind sharing the video, and check us out on Discord, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the links in the description to the video. And also there's some links on the banner page for YouTube as well. So you can click on those if you want. Oh, we're on Patreon as well, but yeah, if you do want to contribute, go for it. Cool. Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe and well. I'll see you on the next video.
See you.